the chairman of the meeting here, Shri Aiyar, and Subramanian Swamy, the General Secretary of the Virat Hindustan Sangam, Jagdish Shetty, ladies and gentlemen of this great but small state, Goa. You took the trouble on a Sunday morning to come at short notice. I thank you very much for the same. The topic you have selected is, in my opinion, the most important topic for us in the 21st century. We had other concerns earlier to get freedom, to get our economy on its feet, and so on. But I think we are now on the edge of becoming a global power, and it's no use becoming a global power unless the citizens of this country are aware of our cultural past, cultural tradition, and shape our minds on that knowledge of the future. The Hindu society is the oldest society in the world today. UNESCO did a listing of 46 civilizations, and they found 45 had disappeared. Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, Mesopotamians, like that. I mean, all of them don't exist today. But the one surviving, continuing civilization is the Hindu civilization in the world. And we are not civilized, continuing civilization because there were no challenges. We were in fact ruled for about 700 years in various parts of India by the Islamic people, Islamic invaders, Portuguese, Dutch, French, and finally the British. And the British, they lasted another 200 years. And still this society, in its basic framework, it continues to exist without the help of the government. When I was teaching at Harvard in America, a Saudi Arabian student of mine asked me after class that in Saudi Arabia universities, they are doing research on why India today is still 82% Hindu. Of course, when I say 82%, I include the Sikhs and the Buddhists and the Jains. And I think this is the constitutional definition. If you go to Article 15 of the Constitution, there's a proviso there which states Hindu means someone who's not Muslim or Christian. It doesn't describe who else is Hindu. It says all citizens of India, those who are not Muslim and Christians, they're Hindus. So, because these are theologies which have come out of this country, out of the mud of this country, the others are both from abroad. And the basic precepts of Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism is not in contradiction to the basic concepts laid out in the Vedas. One thing I should make clear, my name is Swamy, but I'm not the genuine Swamy. I'm an economist. But because I think for building our society culture is so important, I've devoted a lot of time to study it and how a renaissance can come in the future. What is it that we have to do today to have a cultural renaissance. I am not against Christians and Muslims joining us, provided they accept one fact, which is genetically proved to be true, that their ancestors are Hindus. It is published in the Journal of Genetics of the University of Cambridge, of the University of Mysore, and the University of Houston. It's now an accepted fact that Indians have a common DNA. Your skin color can differ, it depends on what part of how close you are to the equator, and the sunshine, what occupation you occupy. That's pigmentation, it's got nothing to do with race. But in terms of DNA, whether you are a Hindu or Muslim or a Christian, or you're a Brahmin or a scheduled caste, your DNA is the same. Because the Varna Vyavastha was never birth-based. That Lord Krishna says in Gita. It's based, it was a division of labor invented by two Maharishis, Bhrigu and Bhardwaja, who thought division of labor is necessary for a society to be peaceful. And Bhrigu identified 4 sources of power, which he said should be decentralized. One is the power of knowledge. Second is the power of weapons. Third is the power of wealth. And the fourth is the power of land. And he said that no one person should have more than one of this power. That is the decentralization proposed. And because he said it will not be birth-based, but a person will be a Brahmin if he follows knowledge and also sacrifice, Jnani and Tyagi. And a Kshatriya will be one who will pick up weapons to protect the country, but the policy will be made by the Jnani and Tyagi. Wealth is desirable, but excessive wealth which is not donated to society, that is not desirable. Land is for the producing food for the people in abundance. That is why Vishwamitra was born, his parents were Kshatriyas, and ended up being the Maharishi. In fact, he became Rishi of Rishis, even the gods were scared of him. Veda Vyasa's mother was a fisherwoman. He wrote the Mahabharata. Kalidasa was a Vanavasi. He was cutting branches of trees before the princess picked him up and educated him and made him into a great poet. He was a Maharishi. Valmiki was belonging to the scheduled caste, a small fraction which grew during the Buddhist period and the Islamic period. And the children of scheduled caste were not scheduled caste. Valmiki is the example. He started off as a dacoit, but soon, when a vision of Ram and his repetition of the name, he became Maharishi, wrote the Ramayana. So therefore, I say to you that first of all, recognize that we are all of one people. We didn't come from some faraway place, like the British wrote in their history books, that there were first Dravidians ruling all over India. And then the Aryans came from Khyber Pass, from Europe, beat the hell out of the Dravidians and ruled in the south. And that's why north is Aryan and south is Dravidian. It was taught to us through schools, through bishops, through the Christian clergy. And soon enough, it became something accepted as God's truth. South India, in Tamil Nadu, we had a Dravidian movement also, saying we are different. And Rama was a hate figure for these people because he's from north, and that he killed Ravana, who was from Lanka and therefore Dravidian. Well, Ravan was not from Lanka. Ravan was born in a village near Delhi. It's called Bisrak. You can still go and see it. There's a big billboard. The area is called Noida. I don't know whether you heard of Noida. It's part of UP, but on the borders of Delhi. And then he went to Mansarovar. He did tapas, and Lord Shiva gave him a boon. With that boon, he came to Lanka and defeated his cousin Kuber and became Lanka Naresh. And he was a Brahmin, incidentally. His father, at least, was a Brahmin. And he practiced. He was a scholar of Samaveda. And Karunanidhi thought he is one like him. And so Karunanidhi was against anything I was doing which didn't suit the Dravidian concocted notions. When the Setu Samudram project was cleared, and it required cutting through Ram Setu, which the British called as Adam's Bridge. Because Adams came from heaven and walked on that bridge, so therefore it became Adam's Bridge. That means before he walked, there was a bridge. Whose bridge was it? And so, the argument given was very simple. That you have to go from Tuticorin to Chennai, you have to go around Sri Lanka. So why not through the Park Strait? Why not through the Gulf of Mannar and Park Strait? Because in the middle there is an island of Rameshwaram which stops in the middle of the Gulf of Mannar and called Dhanushkodi, a place called Dhanushkodi, and that you know from Ramayana what a famous place it is. And from there Rama Setu starts and goes to Sri Lanka. So therefore you cut through, and that means cut through Ram Setu. And Karunanidhi enjoyed it very much. He told his Muslim electorate, they broke the Babri Masjid, I will break the Ram Setu. So all the Shankaracharyas and Dharmagurus, Acharyas, they filed a petition to Supreme Court and it was dismissed. The court said, what is this? For development work, you can't come up with all these mythological stories and stop it. So finally, the RSS, the Vishuddha Parishad and Swami Dayanand Saraswati, they prevailed upon me to risk my neck and go to Supreme Court. I say risk my neck because when a petition is dismissed, you can't go with the same petition. The court will fine you. But I had to find some other way of thinking. So instead of saying this is our religious heritage, we can't break it, blah, blah, I chose a new way. That the Setu Samudram project was worth 3,000 crores. And the object was only one, that you don't have to transport your goods with ships from Africa and Middle East and all that come and put it in Tuticorin. You don't have to go around Sri Lanka. So I propose that instead of having Rama Setu cut, put a railway line from Tuticorin to Chennai along the coast. And that costs only 600 crores. So I went to the Supreme Court, I said, this is a waste of public money when you can do this. And fortunately for me, the Planning Commission 15 years earlier had already considered that project, but it was not implemented. So I had a ready-made report. And so I showed it to the court, and the court gave me a stay. And now, of course, the BJP government has declared Setu Samudram project will never touch Rama Setu. I won the case in the Supreme Court, and one of the things which enabled me to lighten the atmosphere was when the judge asked me, there were two judges, the Chief Justice Balakrishna and Justice Ravindran. He asked me, one thing you tell me, Ram Setu is right in the middle of the ocean. Who will go to the middle of the ocean to pray there? So I said, Your Lordship, every morning I pray to Lord Surya, and I don't go there and come back. I told him, your name is Ravindran, at least you should know. So, the misconceptions that Ram Setu is a mythical idea. It is not a mythical idea. Because our geologists went there to determine whether it was a man-made, man-built, or it is a natural phenomenon. And they found that the bridge was on top of a ridge which comes from under the terrain, the bed of the Gulf of Mannar, and on that ridge put what looked like rocks, which created Ram Setu. You can see it even today. Of course, very soon our government is going to declare it as a National Heritage Monument. After that, government will do all the renovation, and you can walk across. Rajapaksa has already, during his tenure as president, renovated Sita's Ashok Vatika, Rawan's palace, Sanjeevani mountain, which also you can see in Sri Lanka. So you will have ample opportunity to walk across Ram Setu to Sri Lanka. So this rock, the geologists, the Geological Survey of India's people, they examined and found it was not a rock. It was a coral. And a coral is made out of, fused fish bones, shells, and all that. And it has one quality, that after becoming a rock, it floats in the water. It doesn't sink. And you can only find it in the seashore. Which means if it is there, then it must have been brought there. It is not a natural growth there. And if you read the Ramayana, what happened when Hanuman went and got these rocks from the shore? They started floating. Hanuman was perplexed, so Valmiki records, he wrote Ram Ram on each of these rocks, and then the rocks settled down. So on top of this thing, some kind of clay was put, and these rocks were placed in. And that's how Ram Setu was constructed, according to Ramayana and according to what we see. This is another myth that British had called, which we have exploded. That means we had engineering knowledge as far back as at least 7000 BC. That is almost 9000 plus from today. This is what we Indians were. And many of the things that are said in the Vedas, the Upanishads and all, you can see it in the real world. The British used to make fun of us, saying that you are worshipping the river Saraswati. What do you mean by wishing Saraswati? The British used to ask. It's a non-existent river. It's another mythology. But a few years ago, the scientists using sensing lasers, they discovered that there is Saraswati and it is underground, and now the process of lifting it up to the level is going on, and soon you will have Saraswati flow all the way into the river. The British used to make fun of us, saying Krishna is a mythological character. Where is Dwarka? There is no city of Dwarka. We have now discovered, as it is stated in the Puranas, that Dwarka faced a big earthquake and the whole thing sank underwater, and now under the water we have discovered Dwarka. We are now going to lift it all up and rebuild the city of Krishna, Dwarka very soon. When you think of your culture, think about two things. Think about the future and what we can do. And think about what is the truth about our past. I was talking to you in the beginning about the Saudi Arabian student. He asked me, how is it you are 82%? Why? Because every country conquered by the Islamic forces within a short period was converted into 100% Islamic country. Iran was ruled by the Zoroastrians, whom we call in India as Parsis. After conquering Iran, which in those days called Persia, got a new name, Iran, the Islamic forces converted the population by their usual methods to 100% Muslim in just 15 years. Mesopotamia and Babylon on the neighborhood, they were converted in 17 years. Now today it's known as Iraq, Mesopotamia and Babylon, to 100% Islamic in 17 years. Egypt of the pharaohs was converted in 21 years to 100% Islam. Christians converted Europe in 50 years to 100% Christian. But this student says, how is it we ruled for 700 years, the Christians to the British ruled for 200 years, and you are still 82%. What is the secret of that? The secret of that is what is not taught in your books, history books. Our people fought and fought and fought. There was not a place we didn't put up a fight. Sometimes succumbed, but again rose. We know Shivaji, but there were Rana Pratap, there was the Vijayanagaram Empire of Karnataka, 300 years it ruled. From where? The whole of Karnataka, south included. Along with Cholas, they went to the borders of Bengal. 300 years. Do you see any reference to Vijayanagaram Empire in our history books taught in schools? At most a paragraph, if any. And Mughals, from Akbar to Aurangzeb, how many years? 150 years. For that, one chapter. Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb. This is the distortion of history. You can't have a cultural revolution in this country unless you write a new history book. You have to also include the role of women. I don't know how many of you have heard of Rani Karnavati of Garhwal. Mughals attacked her 4 times. She defeated them. And the 5th time the Mughal soldiers said, we won't go to battle with her. Why? Because she had one bad habit. When she caught them, she cut their noses off. So no soldier wanted to go because he'll have his nose cut off. So that is the Kali's Rupa, I suppose. Same thing with Rani Chennamma in Karnataka. How many people have heard of her? Great fighter. There are fighters which we are, of men also we have not heard of. Ahom dynasty. Thai people came, completely married, stayed here, became Hindus, created a dynasty called Ahom dynasty. 6 times the Mughals tried to cross into Burma, but 6 times the Ahom dynasty defeated them. They came 10-1, the Mughals came 10-1. Still, no reference in the Guru Gobind Singh. In fact, Guru Gobind Singh's valor was so great that the British wanted to disparage him, and they invented this slur on the Sikh community called 12 baje. At 12 noon every day, the Sikhs go mad. Actually, every night at 12, Guru Gobind Singh's soldiers used to come, raid the Mughal camp, and liberate all the women whom they had kidnapped. That's why it was called Baravati. Act of valor, they made it to look cheap. So our cultural heritage has been degraded by successive invaders. They didn't last, they lost. If the British hadn't come at the time they came, the Marathas would have finished the Mughals. And the whole country would have been under Hindu rule once again. But the British came at that time and they took advantage of some divisions in Maharashtra. And due to some tactical errors of Bajirao, and Bajirao was defeated in 1815, and then the British ruled. Even there, we fought and tried to get rid of them. 1857 is an example of that. What the British called it, mutiny. No new mutiny. It was an uprising. Sabhagruha is right when he calls it the first war of independence. These are the new idioms we have to teach our people. Why is it important? Because of the fact that if you don't have a mindset of what you are, you can never be strong. Even if you are physically strong, even if you have nuclear weapons, even if you have tanks, this, that, everything. Unless you have the mindset. Sometimes people say, we are now 1.3 billion people, why are you afraid? I said, no, it's not a question of 1.3 billion and being afraid. It is the mindset of these under 1.3 billion people. If you have 1,000 goats at one place and one tiger comes, who's got the numbers? The goats. But who will run? The moment the goats see the tiger, in their mindset there's only one thing, run. And the tiger will go after its lunch. One of them will be picked up as its lunch. One tiger, 1,000 goats. Run, who will run? It will be the goats. Strength also is not sufficient. You have to have the mindset to use that strength. In a circus and in a cage, you can see one of the items will be 5 strong lions brought in. And one king ringmaster will walk in, close the door and start ordering them. Climb up on that bench. They all climb up. Open your mouth. They'll all open their mouth. He'll put his head in each one of them. And the crowd will cheer. But the question is, why these lions don't bite his head off? Because they've been brought from pop stage to obey. And they obey. They don't know their strength. They may be the most well-fed lions in the world, but they don't know their strength. So they don't have the mindset. So they obey. I've seen this in real life. When people used to ask me about my friend, very long-standing friend, old good friend, Manmohan Singh. Why was he afraid of Sonia Gandhi? He asked me. So I said, his name is also Singh, but he's Circus Singh. They were frightened stiff of her. I know it personally. Sign her and everything she would ask him. Now what is she? Just some foreign lady. Well, here is a man sitting on the most powerful chair of India, the Prime Ministership. You're not able to tell this. So when you want a cultural transformation in this country, the focus has to be on the mindset. And that focus must include all sections of our population equally. Some have been discriminated, for some time they have to be given special advantages. But in the end, they must all become one. And that process, men and women also should be one. Today, the treatment of women doesn't speak well of our present culture. But that was not the status of women. I gave you already examples of women warriors. If you go back into the Brahma's kingdom, he had allotted 5 portfolios, or rather 4 portfolios. He had delegated his responsibility. 3 of them went to the women. Education to Saraswati, finance to Lakshmi, and defense to Durga. And the fourth one was information broadcasting to Narad Muni. Where is the status for men? Women, one woman, Draupadi, caused a Mahabharat war to save her dignity. Sita could have escaped from Ashok Vatika when Hanuman went there. He said, just sit on my shoulder and take you there to Ravana. She said, no, you must come here and kill Ravana. Because not only a question of my slavery, there are so many women who are here as slaves. They all have to be liberated. This is the thing that is taught to our people. Women are, today's age is of knowledge. It's no more physical strength. No more physical survival. So men and women are equal. Looking from the results of these school examinations, it looks like women are superior actually, because of the Saraswati tradition probably. Because they are coming first, second, third. I think all the men are somewhere in the 4th, 5th stages. So these things we have to show. You have to make women feel that they are equally empowered from childhood. Not that she should be prepared for marriage. There's nothing wrong with marriage, but it should be understood. It's a partnership of 2 equals in an intellectual society. And should know today, even today, there's a very large proportion of population where girls born immediately are told the liability they are. There is no equal happiness when a boy is born versus when a girl is born. These are cultural retrogradations of the past which has to go. We should regard ourselves as one. And one of the ways to regard ourselves as one is to learn Sanskrit. If the school doesn't teach you, teach it at home. You can learn yourself today. The RSS has got a Sanskrit Bharati. I don't know if it's here also.
Yes.
Yeah, they are doing first class job. In 10 days you can start conversing. Elementary conversations. Why do I say learn Sanskrit? For 2 established reasons. Not by Indians, today's Indians, but by foreigners. The first is what you can see in Google. If you type NASA, NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Agency of the United States, NASA and Sanskrit, you will get it. There's a journal called Journal of Artificial Intelligence, the most advanced field of economics. And what does it say? There a man called Rick Briggs writes an article saying that future lies in storing knowledge. Because people are born, they acquire knowledge from their practical experience, then they die, and after their death, that knowledge disappears with them. So after they retire, they should sit before a computer and say what new things they have learned in their life. And all that should be then brought in and made into a volume. So that project is going on. That's the simplistic way of putting artificial intelligence. Then that is fed into computers. Computers start doing what humans can do. But he said, in what language do we store knowledge? Because there's French, there's English, there's Russian, there's Chinese, so many languages. And he concludes in this volume, in this journal, that the most computer-friendly language is Sanskrit, and therefore the future is Sanskrit. If you go to Google and type St. John's School, London, you will get an extraordinary item to come up. That school, the principal has made it compulsory for students from the class 6 to class 11 to recite every morning some Sanskrit shlokas. And the principal is interviewed. He said, why are you doing this? He said, I am convinced that if 6 to 11 age group, every morning for half an hour, if you recite selected Sanskrit shlokas, your brain development is faster than anybody else's brain development. Now, if I had told you that first, you would have said, oh, he's communal, he's a Hindu fanatic, so he's saying like that. An Englishman is telling you, please take it seriously. Yoga was not taken seriously by people in the 1950s and 60s till only after the Hollywood actresses started using yoga to become fashionable. Why is it that so many foreigners come to Shri Ravi Shankar's ashram, Baba Ramdev's ashram and so on? What for? Because I've asked them, bankers, lawyers, millionaires, billionaires have come in and stay there for a week, sometimes one year, to get education from Shri Ravi Shankar or Baba Ramdev. Why? I'm giving two examples. There are, of course, many other, Ramakrishna Mission, Chinyananda Mission, and so on. They are all coming to all these ashrams because they want to be happy. Because the Hindu theology teaches you how to be happy. Bhagavad Gita gives you one simple formula. Always pursue matters saying, I have freedom of action. I will do my best. And once I'm satisfied I've done my best, then the fruit of it, Lord Krishna says, I am the decider of that, not you. So, if you have that mentality, that your only right is to do your best, you'll never have stress. And if you don't have stress, you won't age easily. American young executives all have heart attacks because of stress. Supposing I don't succeed, what will happen? This country has been told to be afraid of failure. Our country. And so our young people don't strive for very much more. When I was at Harvard, I used to have one last class after they all passed their exams, and asked my class of 40 people, where people from all over the world were represented. Now you are passed, you are clearing the exams and going. What kind of career will you pursue? I put to you two kinds of careers. One is like Bill Gates. Take a wild risk, succeed, become a billionaire. Of course, if you don't succeed, you will fall on the street. The other is to take a steady job. Every year your salary will increase by 5%, gratuity will be added and so many other things. And at the age of 60 or 65, you will retire, you will get your pension, you will get your gratuity, and you buy a house and watch television for the rest of your life. Which life will you? Americans used to ask me, what's the probability I will end up like Bill Gates? They used to ask me a counter question. But 100% of my Indian students used to say, we prefer the second job. And I tell them, why second job? You'll be having only guaranteed poverty. That's not a life. They said, it may be, but it is guaranteed. That's why we want it. This Indian search for stability is what the British have put into your brain. Always avoiding trouble. When I'm fighting corruption, one of the questions many people ask me, aren't you afraid that something might happen to you? That means this risk factor is making you into mouse. You have to bring up new generation which is ready to take risk. And failing, stand up again and try again. Many times people have never won on their first attempt. So this is called mindset. And this is the mindset I want Indian youngsters to. That's why we have founded this association called Virat Hindustan Sangam. If you go to its website, vhsindia.org, you will see all kinds of things we have done. So we are interested. Today I think the greatest cultivation necessary is the mind of the Indian. He must know his glorious past. He must know that he fought and defeated those who could not be defeated anywhere else. That today, even with all this rickety education system, we have people who have now become chairman of the Microsoft, chairman of the of Google, like that. They are in very high positions in America and England and other places. Indians are doing very well everywhere abroad, but not in India as yet. Why? Because the opportunities are few. But those opportunities are created by their previous generations of those natives by taking risk. They did risky endeavors and produced it. The computer would never have come but for a risky endeavor. That mindset is what we want. And to realize that we are one country, we are one people, we have one heritage. Even if some people have come from abroad, their DNA says they are from here. They are converted, no problem. We are the one country in the world, one religion in the world, the Hindu religion, the one and only religion in the world which says all paths lead to God. We are not saying all paths lead to God equally fast. That we are not saying. We think the fastest way to reach God is through Hinduism, but that's a separate matter. But you also are reaching God. And we respect all gods, and we respect your method. But don't convert. Somebody asked Mohan Bhagwat of the RSS the other day in a function, you say that all religions are as good or will lead you to God, then why are you opposing conversion? His reply is, if all religions are equally good, then why convert at all? Yours is not superior, mine is not superior, we are all equal. So, why you should see that you remain this overwhelming majority is because we don't want to break that chain which produced such great geniuses, not only in culture, not only in literature, but in science, mathematics. What is it that we did not invent, for which we are not getting credit? Did we not invent the zero, which made calculation so much easy? Did we not invent the decimal, which made arithmetic so easy? Did we not invent calculus? Bhaskaracharya invented calculus, which revolutionized scientific thinking. Rocket science, you won't read any book in America on rocket science. They say the first formal rocket launchers were produced in India. And they give the example of Coromandel Coast where Tipu Sultan used it. Because Tipu Sultan didn't have brains to invent a rocket. He got it from the other people. There is nothing that we did not. It was interrupted. This mind development was interrupted because we were a different kind of warrior than others who came. You know, in Mahabharata, they fought in an open Maidan called Kurukshetra. Ram fought Ravan not inside his palace, but in an open Maidan. Ravan had to come to the open Maidan. That was our tradition. Never fight in the cities, never fight in the agricultural villages or agricultural land, never fight inside houses, only open Maidan between two recognized armies. And fighting will start when the sun rises, and fighting will stop when the sun sets. And then both of us withdraw to our respective camps. That was our tradition. Muhammad Ghori learned about that because Jayachand revealed that secret to him. And that's how the first Delhi empire of the Muslims came in 1192. Those who didn't know the secret could fight any Indian army. So fierce, and we have defeated even the caliphs at one stage in 700 AD. But we had these rules. No civilian casualties ever took place when we had wars between Hindu governments. So these traditions are to be taught to our people and make them proud of the past and resolve that we will work for it in the future, both men and women alike. That is the cultural transformation. Thank you very much. I got to the hint.